Hey guys, welcome in. This is our brand new podcast, Back to Brilliance. I'm your host, Henry, along with co host Joseph. Thank you guys for tuning in to our new podcast. We're going to go over a few things today, introducing ourselves, discussing our goals and our visions, and some of the things that inspire us and the entrepreneurs that have inspired us. So today we're going to go ahead and share how me and Joseph met, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to let Joseph go ahead and introduce himself first, and then I'll go and we'll continue on.
All right, appreciate that, Henry. So yeah, I'm Joseph, just a Zoomer on the internet that met Henry, and just here to learn and grow, and inspire people that are trying to do or be an entrepreneur, but struggle with the day-to-day stuff that as we all do.
Right on, right on. Thank you, Joseph. And my name is Henry again. I'm the host here at Back to Brilliance. Yeah, I met Joseph. We're part of a community. I've been around for a while. I consider myself in the analog stage of life, trying to transition into the digital world. Joseph has been in the digital world for quite some time now, and he'll share more about his experiences and in that world. So I joined a community, and Joseph was also a member there. So we just linked up, and we've been working on projects together. And this is one of the projects, creating a podcast. It's something that I've been desiring to do for a while, as well as Joseph has. So
Yeah, oh yeah,
it
same,
just,
yeah.
yeah, it just seems like, it was, the timing was right, and all the stars aligned. So here we are, and that's how we met. So from this point on, the rest is going to be history, and you guys will be able to, see it in real time as we put out these podcasts and continue to grow together in friendships and relationship and helping people out. So we hope that what we talk about, uh, enriches your life and the places where you're at, because we're going to be able to discuss a few things. So I'll leave that to Joseph, and maybe we could talk about the experience and values that actually bonded us, as I kind of stepped on that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So just going back to how we met, we joined the AI community. That's really, I mean, it's one of the first of its kind as far as like a really strong community, it seems. And like, just joining the weekly group calls, I saw that Henry was really, he stood out amongst the people in there because like, we talked about it yesterday, but it seems to be like a common theme to just kind of like want to just push off your own problems to like the person who runs the thing. Whereas I could tell that Henry was very like driven, very goal oriented, and that really spoke out to me because I've always been someone who has wanted to grow and wanted to learn constantly. And Henry talked about that yesterday as well, where like you kind of, if you're like a plant, if you don't feed the plant, if the plant doesn't grow, it's just gonna die. And so you know carrying on with those things, like I feel like we're very similar people in that regard.
Very true. Yeah, yeah, and that's a key to life, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. That's just a reality. So it's like it's important to continue to grow every day in whatever it is. So yeah, and in this community, it's been a fantastic community. Yeah, I look to the leader there. Is he's not a babysitter or there to motivate. He's just putting out the information, and that's what we've gravitated toward, and working together in conjunction. Like I said, this is kind of the experiences and the values that bonded me and Joseph together. There's a saying, right? Birds of a feather flock together. So it's
Definitely.
like, that's the key. So that's kind of where we're at, guys, with the experience and values that brought us together. So let's continue to our next thing. What led us
Yeah.
to the entrepreneurship and motivation as a focus.
Yeah, so basically for me, like, I'll just start off with my like vision for the year because that's what's really driven me and like really guided me to like to even joining the AI community that we're in is like pretty much last year. I mean, I personally feel like I burned all of it. I feel like I like Henry mentions, and I'm sure he'll mention it a lot throughout the podcast, but like, if you do the same thing every day for, the next 5 years will look exactly the same. And like, that spoke to me directly, because like I've written about that in my own personal life. I've written about that many, many times, to myself, about myself. And like, it's so true. And this year, my number one goal, my number one, or my New Year's resolution, which I don't really believe in, we can get into that at some point, but my number one goal this year is to get out of my own way, like just shut up and just do it, And I mean, we're only the third month into the year, and like my life is accelerating because of it. And people like Henry, I know for a fact, just learning from him, knowing what he knows, I'm sure everyone in this podcast can benefit greatly from that, from just his knowledge. So yeah, that's been like a goal of mine this year, is to get out of my own way.
Yeah, that's what's up, and that's basically what happens to a lot of us. We say it, but we never do it. And that's the thing with that's a great thing that Joseph's taking that step. I've took that step. Let me tell you guys. All right, I'm an old guy in my world. I'll be 50 this year, but age is not an excuse, right? The reality is you could. It's a universal law of reaping and sowing, right? You can only pull out whatever you put in. So just like a plant, when you plant something, it's not going to produce fruit if you don't water it, if you don't till it, if you don't tend to the ground. So in life, you have to do these same things. So again, if you're feeling stuck and you're in a situation where you feel like, hey, I'm not moving, things are still the same, I'm not growing, then we become stagnant, and eventually you begin to wither, and then it dies. But it's a subtle. It's subtle. It takes time, right? So that's why it's important that you continue to inspire yourself, motivate yourself, educate yourself, and most importantly, get around people that are, doing the things that you like to do. So that's what this community that we joined. Everybody's coming with the same mindset. They're coming with the same desire. The desire is to change, to grow, to help others, to bring value. And so in this podcast, what we hope you find is the value in the information that we're going to share. We're going to discuss more about, what this podcast consists of. And as we continue, it'll grow and flourish, because it's all natural, and, it just flows. Me and Joseph, we sit here and talk for days, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And just like, like Henry was saying, just like, I mean, this has been said for years, but if you follow Earl Nightingale, your mind is like a plantation, or like a field of, if you plant good crops, you'll get good crops. If you tell yourself like, well, if you put in the actions, you'll reap what you sow. And if you don't put in the time and effort, the actions, all of that, you're just going to get bad crops, or or no crops at all, So that's like a big thing for me, is like this year, I want to put in the work. I want to put in the seeds, and, reap the benefits from it, especially because now I'm in a position with a bunch of like-minded people, like Henry was saying, where, that is the culture in this community that we joined. And not to keep harping on the community, but that's kind of what brought us together. So, at first, we may talk a lot about the community, because, I do have a lot of respect for the leader of it, or, the founder of it, and just, the culture that he's cultivated and the people that he's found. I mean, he found Henry, he found me. So, that there's some good seeds in there, or there's some good crops to be held. And like, just going back to what Henry was saying earlier, just like, we all struggle with stuff. We all, we may, bump or have bumps on the road, but it's all about going back to it. Just, like, you may get knocked down, but it's about how you get back up. And, common phrase that people say. It's like, it's not how you start, it's about how you finish. And, being a closer in life is more important than being an opener, because being the closer is where you make the money,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And in entrepreneurship, like Joseph was saying, we'll talk about that community. It's because we're jazzed about it, and that's where we're at right now, and that's what's got us motivated. Because we're learning, we're growing. We're building relationships. This is life, guys. This is the way it is. And the road on as an entrepreneur, becoming an entrepreneur, there's no more, your boss telling you what to do. There's no more demands, from the supervisors and managers and CEOs. You are all of that, So sometimes when you're riding along this journey in the path of entrepreneurship, it gets lonely. You're alone, so you need a team. So this is how we build a team, and that's kind of where we want to help with our content here in this podcast, is to be a motivational, inspirational, to your entrepreneurship journey, and help you in any way that we can. So with that, that's kind of what's got us motivated right now, and that's where our focus is. And it's going to evolve the way it evolves, So hang with us. We appreciate you guys tuning in and hearing us out and giving us your time, because that's the greatest commodity that we as people have, humans, is time. That's the one thing we can't get back. No matter, you can make a lot of money, spend a lot of money, and make more money, but time, once it's spent, that's it, it's gone. So I think a lot of people don't spend their time, they just waste their time. So there's a difference, so being productive is the key, and even in this, just setting up this podcast, guys, believe it or not, there's a lot of things on the back end that go in, and it's like, okay, there can be a lot of setbacks, but no excuses, right? We just got to keep pushing forward. That's what entrepreneurship is. It's no excuses. It's doing it in spite of how you feel. It's got to get done, so that's kind of where we're at in terms of the motivation. So let's keep it moving. What else we got on our list today, brother?
Well, I want to talk about people that inspire us. Like, what are some thought leaders, or some, just entrepreneurs that got you into it?
Wow, that's a long list. How much time do we have? Okay, so I'll just keep it short for the sake of time. But there's a lot of gurus out there that I listen to. One of them is Eric Thomas, E.T. A lot of the stuff he's shared, the motivation, but it goes deeper than the motivation. It's the application. Another one is Les Brown. He's been around for a long time, doing this for over 50 years. And the wisdom and knowledge that he's given, is just phenomenal. So there's a lot of them out there, information is like, I'll say it like this, because I've heard it like this said, and this is a good true saying, is that information is like a watermelon. You just eat what's good and spit out the seeds. So that's kind of the application. So you're going to take in a lot of information, but these are the entrepreneurs that have inspired me, amongst others, that are out there, the Tony Robbins, the Zig Ziglars, Dale Carnegie, all these different influencers. So yeah, this is kind of what got me on my journey, is realizing that here's the reality. Maybe when I'm ready to retire, Social Security's not going to be there. That might be a reality. So
yeah, really,
that really scared me. And for the next generation behind us is even more scarier. So, that's kind of what led me on my journey, and the entrepreneurs that I mentioned, have inspired me along the way. So how about yourself, Joseph?
Yeah. I mean, E.T., Eric Thomas, I mean, back when, this might sound my age, but like, back in middle school, I was listening to him, and, not saying he was a primary one. I will say I'm a bit more of a casual Eric Thomas fan, but I mean, I've seen that famous talk that he gave, and that really woke me up to just that mindset. But as far as today, like definitely Earl Nightingale, a little bit more obscure, Vernon Howard, Neville Goddard, also because I'm a bit younger, a lot of these people that, or some of these names that I'm going to mention going forward, they're YouTubers, but people like Joseph Rodriguez, he has a YouTube channel about all of this stuff, kind of like a mishmash, or like, a collage of people like Napoleon Hill, Joseph Murphy, all of these people, not to reel off too many names, but just like, I am a product of like kind of this new age wave where it's like, it's like the student of the student type of stuff. But one name that I really, really want to give a shout out to is Alan Watts. He was a thought leader from the 60s. And, whenever I, back in 2017, I used to listen to him every night for pretty much 3 years straight. I would just listen to him talk about philosophy, Zen philosophy in particular, and just like how to view life. And like, that really opened my eyes to just like, to be awake, don't
Right.
sleep your life away.
Right. Absolutely. Well said, bro. Yeah. And, all these are great, leaders to mentors, to follow, and everybody has their go-to, so it's whatever speaks to you, so that's fantastic. And again, that's, the great minds think alike, and you build upon that. And so these are great tips, good influencers in our life for the entrepreneur journey. So absolutely, bro. Good stuff, and it continues, right? And like you said, it's the next generation, kind of like a mashup. They take bits and pieces from each person and formulate the thing. So it's like however you get your information. That's why there's so many different avenues, right? You got YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I mean, you name the social media, so you're getting content from everywhere. You're getting hit, but it's finding what works best for you so that you can execute and be the greatest version of yourself.
Definitely. And like, I'm a big firm believer of this. Like the truth speaks in many different languages. There's not the truth will always be the truth. And like, I know Henry is religious, or he's Christian, and
Yes.
I give a lot of reverence and respect for religion as a whole, because they've been speaking the truth for thousands of years, and some of it is so simple that people don't even want to acknowledge it. Just like the Ten Commandments, those are such simple principles, but a lot of people don't even follow the simple rules of life. And I have a lot of respect for religious people that follow their path, because again, these are simple truths that have been laid out for us for thousands of years. And it's only the wise, or only the real people who want to wake up in life and listen to the pervading wisdom.
Right. And that comes, again, all this, there's nothing new under the sun, everything you're seeing is just, a reinvention of what somebody else said, so to me, all this stuff that we hear, self-help and all this kind of stuff, it all stems back from, like you said, from some original truth, and a lot of these guys, they get their truths from different places, but it does come back to the foundational truths, such as you just spoke on the Ten Commandments, so it's biblical principles that are applied, like the universal law of reaping and sowing, that's a biblical term. You reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. Karma is the new term for it, but it all means the same thing, so
Mm-hmm.
again, it's in whatever way that speaks to you, so that you can implement that and bring about results. Because at the end of the day, guys, that's what it comes down to, right? It's just the results. Like if you're not happy with the result you're getting, well, what they define that as, if you keep getting, what you're getting, it and think you're going to get a different result, that's insanity, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you have to change something. Something has to change. So, and it doesn't have to change drastically. It's just in small increment steps, and and again, just like I said, in the beginning of this podcast, we just each took a step, right? He took a step to join this community, and I took a step, and here we are, and guys, just so that way we put it in context, it's not like this is 6 months or a year. This has been like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
You know what
really.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
literally, just to put it in context, it's only been 2 weeks, and it feels like already 6 months because of the growth already and in the things that we've done. So we're just being examples to you guys and also to ourselves in putting into practice what we're preaching, right? With the message that we're sharing. It's like, okay, so we just met 2 weeks ago. We've already started working on some other stuff outside of this for AI automation type thing, just to give you guys a background. And then we just both realized, hey, we were looking both to start a podcast. Here we are. You're on the Back to Brilliance podcast. So yeah, that's a little background of where we're at. So what's our next topic, bro? Where are we going from here? What are we talking?
Yeah, I kind of just want to kind of give a little like summary in a way, just like like what you were saying, just like you know uh where you just need to like again follow what you preach, but also you can learn something from everyone, and like I feel like that's such an undervalued or underrated thing nowadays. Is like um you know it comes in all shapes and sizes. The truth will always be there. The wisdom, light, whatever you want to call it, and like um you know like you just said, this is not a 6 months in the making. This is 2 weeks in the making. And so kind of like what I was saying previously, where I wanted to get out of my own way, and ever since then that like my life has accelerated because of that. And like I feel like that is like a big thing that people have and struggle with nowadays, is like um you get told like, hey, you have so much time, but once you're like, oh well, I have so much time, I don't have to do anything. 5 years down, then 5 years will pass, and you're like, wow, I don't have as much time as I thought. And so
Right.
I kind of just want to instill like, hey, just get after it. Like I had that mentality at one point, and my life was it improved because of that. And I lost that life, I lost that, or that light, I lost that brilliance, but now I'm back to it.
Amen. That's what it is, bro. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like he's saying, the light, the wisdom, we know that comes through experience, right? So, in every experience, you never fail. It's just, do you learn? What did you learn from it? So, and if you didn't learn, you'll go through it again. And that's just history repeats itself. That's where the term comes from, because a lot of times we don't learn these things the first time around, and it's like, okay, well, life will teach you that lesson again. And so we've been down that road, and that's kind of what this Back to Brilliance is about. Is at one time you were shining, bright, and you were doing things and helping, and that spark of life was there, and with the changes in life, the changes that we go through, and situations that we encounter, it sets us back sometimes, and we're trying to find our navigation back to the brilliance, right? To when things were good, when we were high up there, and everything was good. So that's kind of what we want to do, and our platform, we want to design it to inspire and guide, individuals on their journey to find their excellence, So yeah, well said on that, bro, for sure. And that's what it is. That's what life is you're gonna have ups and downs, there's no doubt about that. And but it's how we respond to it, that makes the difference.
Hmm. Definitely. Yeah, so I think this is a good time to end this one, but I feel like this is a good start. Uh, I feel like we're being a little not too positive, but I feel like the vibes are good right now. Like I'm enjoying the vibes. I'm enjoying just this whole journey that you and I are going to start, and I hope that many people join us on our journey, because you know just like how you're joining our journey, we're going to join your journey as well. We're going to be a part of it. As long as you give us your time, like Henry was saying, that is the most valuable thing that we have.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just want to, again, appreciate everyone who is listening. And yeah,
Yeah. Stay tuned, guys. Keep connected with us, and as we grow, we'll continue to keep you guys informed. And again, we do thank you for your time. There are many podcasts out there, and we're glad that you chose to hear ours today. So again, we thank you for the Back to Brilliance. I'm Henry and Joseph, and we're out of here. Thank you, guys.